So hello, good day everyone. We're the group 8 and we're assigned to tackle about the grassroots fundraising. So in this reporting, you will learn how to start grassroots fundraising that gives people a sense of their own power. Leaders and members are encouraged when they raise funds to support the organization. So the learning objectives at the end of this reporting, and you expected to do the following. First, we discuss rather the importance of grassroots fundraising campaign in an organization. Second is explain some grassroots fundraising activities, initiate grassroots fundraising campaign that acceptable to the community people. So the definition of terms, what is the grassroots? So the most basic level of an activity of organization. Another word is a foundation or origin. Fundraising is the process of seeking and gathering voluntary financial contribution by engaging individuals' business. Charitable foundations, it could be profit or non-profit activities. And then the last one is the founding sources. These are some of finance a need, program or project. Sources of funding includes credit, venture capital, donations, grants, savings, subsidies, and taxes. So the next reporter will be discussed more about the grassroots rather. So that's all.
So thank you, Miss Vender, for introducing our lesson or topic today. So by now, you know the overview and the definition of the terms related to our topic. So our topic is fundraising and the different type of donation. So this is will be tackled by our group. So there are 6 main funding sources to help fulfill your mission. So the first type will be discussed by myself, Miss Sibla, and Miss Peritos. So when we say individual donation, it refers to those donation made by individuals who are not involved in cooperatives or local charity. So there are two parts of individual donation, or an individual donation was divided into two parts, namely the individual donors and online donation, offline donation. So individual donors is, for the most part, this is a very effective funding sources, particularly for those organizations with large marketing budget and those with the causes that have a wide appeal. So individual are often what most people think of when they say donors or think about donation. Donation to nonprofit came from 71% of individual donors. So it means the most donation came that the most donation that received by the non-profit organization, are the majority of these came from the individual donors. So there are 5 types of individual donors: the major donors, regular donors, fee for service, alumni, and volunteers. So first, we tackle about the major donors. So when we say major donors, if you started out this way or you currently rely on a single major donors for funding, think and plan carefully for the point at which you will need to transition to new funding sources. So when can we say if that a person can be considered a major donor? So we can say major donors are the people who give the most money to a specific nonprofits. So in our government, we can say the biggest donor are the countries like China and the United States, which help our country to improve and become better in terms of infrastructure and establishment. In a smallest establishment, like a barangay or in a small community such as churches, major donors are those people who pledge or donate something that can be used in the entire establishment. So that is the major donor. So that is major donors about. So next, we proceed to regular donors. What is regular donors? So regular donors are usually give more frequently, but their gifts are smaller in size. They often make up the majority of the donor base and can be quite diverse in age, socioeconomic background, and interest. This is why it is crucial to collect and analyze data about your donor base. So regular donors are either one-off donors or recurring donors. Many nonprofits experts recommend that you get regular donors to become recurring donors, so this provides your nonprofit with sustained income. Allowing you to better plan your activities, we can consider regular donors if they donate monthly. So example of these are the Red Cross. So what is the donation that we receive from Red Cross, like blood, diba? So next is the fee of service. So fee of services. Many nonprofits, depending on what they offering, simply must charge at least a sliding scale fee to cover either the service or goods they are providing. Example include certain hospital or public health clinics. You may also consider a sliding scale of prices based on the recipient income. When we say fee of service, people who are professional, they serve those people but with fee. So consider if this is a possibility of your nonprofit, but do your research and keep your beneficiary in mind. Will they be willing to price you've set? So example of this fee of service is the tattoo for a cause, caravan checkup, massage, and many more. So the next is the alumni. So when we say alumni, this is the funding source works particularly well for organizations such as university, hospitals, that serve a large community with a high turnover. If your nonprofit organization serve a large group of people that pass through and benefit from it frequently and consistently, it might be that they would like to give back and help others receive the same benefits or assistance that they did. So example of this is former student in a specific school who donates school supply for the students, or we can say you are alumni. Like me, I am alumni in Tulay National High School, and we decided by our batch that we will have a feeding program in that school. So that is example of alumni. And the last one is the volunteer. So while volunteer hours are not technically a funding stream, your organization might want to view it as one. For example, volunteer hours can reduce the amount of funding you'll need to raise a particular program and services. So according to the nonprofit source, approximately 63 million people, or 25% of the adult population, volunteer their time, talents, and energy to making a difference. So what is the example of volunteers? Like example of this is packing of relief goods that can be considered as a volunteers in the individual donors. So that is, thank you.
Online or offline donations. You can receive individual donations through online or offline. While online fundraising grows day by day and more individuals seek information online, don't be quick to dismiss traditional fundraising. The best results are usually seen when you combine both traditional and modern fundraising techniques. So there are 4 ways of doing online fundraising. So the first one is the website. When you are not running a specific campaign, or even you are, your website is your best bet. It is your permanent home to your online fundraising efforts. It is crucial to invest time and efforts to make your website and online donation page shine. Make sure that the potential donor encounters a user-friendly website and has a smooth experience. So the next one is the peer-to-peer fundraising. So peer-to-peer fundraising is effective because it builds a relationships, uses your already existing donor. Peer-to-peer fundraising also works well because it is exponential. All the individuals campaign by your supporters ripple outwards and hearing in more donors. So the next one is the email marketing. The study after study puts email marketing as the most effective way for nonprofits to build awareness, acquire leads, raise funds, and retain current donors. Email marketing services are generally free for smaller nonprofits, and even when the email list grows in size, email marketing remains very cost effective. So the last one is the monthly giving. One advantage of the move to online giving has been the facilitation of painless recurring giving program. Monthly giving, otherwise known as recurring giving, reigns supreme. Although big donations are valuable and should still be pursued, recurring giving programs provide a reliable sources of income for your nonprofit. So that's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I am Girie Mae. I am one of the reporter of Group 7. So now I will tackle about offline fundraising. So there are 5 ways to do offline fundraising. So I will start first, the direct mail or solicitation letter. This method of offline fundraising is currently used by nonprofits since it is still effective for certain donor segments. It is primarily used for small nonprofits or nonprofits that operate basically in local places. In addition, the older donors are more likely to prefer direct mail or solicitation letter. So the second one is the events. The fundraising through events is currently increased popularly in the nonprofit community. The example in it is the walk-a-thon, gala dinner, art exhibition, concert, or field day, and hike-a-thon events. These events provides a venue that donors and potential donors can interact in person or even learn more about particular organization. So the third one is door-to-door solicitation. So we all know about solicitation, no? So this is a kind of solicitation that contains a program that directly affects the people being approached. This can be target the terms of audience, which can reduce donor attrition. The door-to-door canvassing enables a one-to-one or face-to-face interaction with the potential donors or constituents that unable to use a direct mail or use a internet. Like there are some donors na dili pa sila kabaw mo use og internet nowadays, no? So next is the fourth one is the phone solicitation. So the fourth one is the phone solicitation. These are the donation requests made over the phone calls. Just like the door-to-door fundraising, this solicitation technique has diminished over the years as online fundraising grows. So medyo nawala-wala na ni siya, no? Kay nowadays kita karon is more likely using the kanang technology naman jud nga bag-o karon nga kuan like mga online nga through internet na ang pagkuan. So but still it can be effective for those non-profit organization. And the last way to do the offline fundraising is the text to give. These are the donations that the donors can make their donations via mobile phones. So usually the donors text keyword of the amount to a dedicated number. The donors usually send the link of the organization mobile responsive donation page. This particular way of offline fundraising is very easy and convenient. So that's all of the ways of offline fundraising. So may I call on Miss Chan Pairyl for the next reporter, please?
Grants. So basically, a grant is a sum of money given to an individual or business for a specific project or purpose. It usually covers only part of the total cost involved. Nonprofits can apply for grants from the government at local, state, and federal levels, as well as private and public foundation. So generally, you don't have to repay any money awarded to you through a grant. And in order for you to be awarded a grant, your organization needs to have charitable or nonprofit status. Here's some of the main types of a grant-giving organizations. First, we have the governments. Government grant is a financial award given by the federal, state, or local government to fund some type of beneficial project. Second is we have the public charity. A public charity uses publicly collected funds to directly support its initiatives. So some of the examples of a public charities are churches, universities, schools, nonprofit hospitals, and medical research institutions. The third one is the community foundations. These are grant-making public charities that are dedicated in improving the lives of people, and these are funded by donations from individuals, families, business, and sometimes government grants. And the fourth main type of a grant-giving organization is a family foundation. Family foundation is a type of a private foundation set up by a family, funded by the family's assets and often run by family members. And lastly, we have the private foundation. A private foundation is an independent legal entity set up for solely charitable purposes. Unlike a public charity that relies on public fundraising to support its activity, the funding of private foundation typically comes from a single individual, a family, or a corporation which receives a tax deduction for donations.
This nonprofit funding source won't necessarily work for every type of nonprofit, but it's worth looking at. So this nonprofit funding source is particularly effective if your nonprofit can offer exclusive programs or benefits to its members. So not all nonprofit organizations will be able to use this kind of financing. This nonprofit source of funding is especially successful if your organization can provide exclusive activities or advantages for its members.
So I think majority of us are already familiar with the word membership fee. But for some who doesn't know, it is the fee that may be charged to applicants for membership as an entrance fee or as an annual membership fee. So membership fee is a nonprofit funding source that won't necessarily work for every type of nonprofit, but it's worth looking at. This nonprofit funding is particularly very effective if your nonprofit can offer exclusive programs or benefits to its members.
So because Miss Taneo and Miss Reyes Alpha Jane cannot discuss their topic, so I will discuss it to all of you. So the next type of 6 main funding source is the selling goods and services. Another funding source your nonprofit can consider is selling goods and services. This funding source is a subject to many regulation. So for example, you can sell branded goods to bring revenue to your organization. These items typically include t-shirts, tote bags, mugs, cookies, and other items. So in donating something, you can donate through selling your good and services. And another example is the garage sale. So here are more example of selling good and services. So selling tickets to events. So this is another important, or this is another example for type of funding sources. Selling tickets to events, especially if there are fiesta in barangays. There are selling tickets for raffles, creating and selling publication, selling in-house expertise. So that is all about selling goods and services. So dali ra kay ni masabtan ninyo because selling goods and services are commonly or broad known in whole country. So this is the last type of 6 funding sources to fulfill your mission. So in-kind donation will not be helpful to every type of nonprofit but can be an invaluable sources of support for nonprofits like animal shelter, homeless shelter, safe houses, or humanitarian relief organization. So in-kind donation are also called gift in kind. Refers to the provision of goods or services to an organization such as office equipment, computers and software, or administrative and financial support. Large corporations and businesses are the most common source of in-kind donation of non-profit organizations. And their charitable giving is not the money to buy the required goods and services, but the goods and services themselves. In-kind donation are valued in monetary terms, and they should be recorded on a company's budget for a value equal to the value of in-kind gifts a non-profit organization received. So, in-kind donation was commonly known to those who have a company. There are the donors to give in-kind donation in a non-profit organization. So example of in-kind donation are clothes, chairs, and many more. So there are other fundraising ideas such as raffle draws, songs, concert and performances, bingo contest, dance for a cause, old book selling, and romage sale. In summary, there are 6 fundraising to fulfill your mission: the individual donation, grants, corporate sponsorship, membership fees, selling goods, and in-kind donation. Under the individual donation was divided into two: the individual donors and online donation. Individual donors consist of major donors, regular donors, fee for service, alumni, and volunteers. Online donation consists of website, peer-to-peer fundraising, email marketing, and monthly giving. Offline donation consists of direct mail, solicitation letter, events, door-to-door, tax to give. In grants, example of these are governments, public charities, community, foundation, and family foundation. So I hope you've learned something about our topic. If you have some question, you are free to ask our group or comment it in the comment section. Thank you and Alevo. Have a nice day, everyone.